Hello, my name's Porter Davis. I'm a real estate broker, and I'm going to be talking about creative real estate sales. Years ago, my buddy Mike said, "My parents want to buy a duplex. Can you help them out?" I said, "Yeah, I'll go talk to them." So I did. And one of the things that I did was ask them about their financial status, their estate plan. And they had a lot of things in good order: insurance, investments. They had this land free and clear. And now they wanted to get some kind of an investment and a little bit of cash flow and maybe some tax shelter. So I looked at what they had and I said, why don't I go check out an investment duplex and write it up for you and show you what it looks like? So I came back. I had a duplex, a triplex, and a fourplex. When I compared those numbers for the duplex, triplex, and fourplex, the numbers on the fourplex looked so much better. You have leverage, larger loan. You have more tax shelter. You have more depreciation. You have more appreciation. And you have another really sort of a great thing that people don't think about. Since you have 4 tenants, you can use one of those tenants to be sort of the overseer or the manager of the property. And you just reduce their rent a little bit. Well, I told them one of the things you want to do in managing property, you want to really take care of it. The grounds, impeccable. Paint and repaint and have great colors, and then take care of the tenants. Treat them like they were the owners. And when they need something like a toilet that's overflowing in the middle of the night, this manager can go up there and fix it. So you have instant help. And they sort of liked these ideas. So I said, I think what we ought to do is we ought to write up a contract and use your land as the down payment. And they said, can we do that? I said, well, yeah, sometimes, but if you don't try it, you won't know. So I said, okay, let's write it up. So we wrote up a contract using the land as the down payment. And I went to the owners of the fourplex, and they were older, had owned the property for over 20 years, a tremendous capital gain. They said they were going to have tax problems, but they were willing to have that because they wanted to travel. They wanted to relax. They didn't want any more property management. I said, okay, so the land doesn't work for you, right? I said, but we do have a buyer. So why don't we counter that you accept their deal subject to the sale of the land? Can we do that? I said, oh yeah, we can do that. So we wrote that up, went back, and they said, well, okay, let's put it up for sale. And while we were doing that, I was down at the Yacht Harbor, and I ran into this guy, had a 50-foot yacht, 10 years old, but it looked brand new because he was down there every weekend working on it, just the little things and just making it perfect. When I was talking with the owners of the fourplex about when they wanted to go travel and they wanted to have some cash out of their building so they could feel comfortable financially doing that. And when he was a little guy, a little kid, he grew up on the East Coast, and he sailed those little sabots, an 8-foot sailboat. So it was in his blood, but he didn't think anything about it. So anyway, when I saw this yacht, something clicked in here and I said, why don't I talk to the owners of the fourplex? And then while I was talking to the owner of the boat, I said, because I know what it's like when you're down there every weekend. He had 3 little kids and a wife at home, and he's down here every weekend. And I'm going, well, what kind of a life is that? So I said, would you be willing to sell the boat? And he said, well, my wife would love that. I said, but you'd like to keep it? Yeah, we're struggling on that. Okay. Well, I'd like to meet with you guys. So I did. And I found out, what they were doing and what they were planning for those kids and their future education. They'd love to have a fund, but they're spending $1,000 a month on this boat. So I brought up this idea that maybe they might like the land for the boat. And the wife, her ears, she just woke right up to the whole idea. And he was a little, what are you talking about? Land for my boat. But she talked to him and she said, look, hon, if we had land, it'll grow in value. And we won't be spending $1,000 a month. So 10 years from now, that's $120,000 we just saved. And the land will appreciate and the yacht will depreciate. So it may be worth 100,000 now, but 10 years from now, we'll be lucky if it's worth 50. So this land will probably increase in value 2 or 3 times. So it's going to be worth 300,000 plus or minus. And then if we save over 120,000 on the expense on the boat, we'll have over $300,000 or $400,000 in the kids' education fund. What do you think of that? So he really got alive on that, and he saw the tone in her voice and the way she laid it out for him, because she had been complaining about him being away every weekend, and that was affecting their love life. So it looked like they were having this nice little dance about maybe the land would be something worthwhile now. He had his 10 years of boat, but now he's got these little kids and a wife who laid it out beautifully for him. She did a great sales job for me. So I go back to the people with the fourplex and I said, well, guess what? I've got a buyer for the land. I said, oh, good. Well, how much cash do we get? And I said, well, the way I think I can set it up for you, $2,000 a month, and you get to have a boat you can travel on. It's a 50-foot yacht. Looks brand new. I want to show it to you. So they agreed, reluctantly, to go look at it. Well, when they saw this boat, they were just like excited. It's like looking at a Christmas tree. So they got on the boat and they went through it, and then they met the owner and he showed them everything. And he said, by the way, I'll be happy to train you in all the ways of using the boat, sailing it, having all of the emergency equipment, everything you need for every situation. So he was happy to do that for them. And they got home and the wife said to him, you always had yachting in your blood 50 years ago. Why don't we talk about it more and go look at it? Well, they did, and they accepted the boat. So the owners of the boat had the land. The owners of the fourplex, they had the boat and they could do their traveling, that part of it, on the water. And they had cash that they could use for other kinds of travel. Now, where did that cash come from? That was being set up by the $300,000 that was left over that needed to be paid to them. So I said, why don't you create an installment sale? You take the land, you'll have to pay a little bit of capital gain there, but you won't have to pay it for the whole thing. You've had tremendous growth over these 20 years. And they said, well, that's a good idea. I said, yeah, I think you really enjoy that. And also, you'll get $300,000, 8% interest, which is $24,000 a year. That's $2,000 a month. And you still have the $300,000. So you can do all kinds of things. There's lots of ability for you. So the owners of the fourplex are happy. The owners of the yacht, they're happy. They've got the land. And then I go back to my original buyers of the fourplex, and they're happy because now they have appreciation, depreciation, cash flow, because they only have to pay interest only. So they have extra income from those 4 units left over. And they have leverage because they'd be able to get this $300,000 loan, and they don't have to pay to get the loan from a mortgage broker. So there's all kinds of win-win-win in this whole thing. I mean, it's incredible. And on top of that, I created 3 commissions. One on the fourplex, 24,000. One on the land, 10,000. One on the yacht, 10,000. 44,000 in commissions. Now, do you think my buddy Mike is a good guy? Do you think I take care of him? So this is what creative real estate does when you think of the people and what they need and want. And sometimes they don't even know what they want because it's their dreams. So we bring in their dreams and help them to do that. This is what a creative deal looks like, a 1031 exchange. Larry Pond.